Today I'll teach everyone how to manually wind a copper coil induction coil for a ZVS induction heater. You need to prepare a round rod to use as a winding mold. Whatever thickness your copper coil inner diameter needs to be, then prepare a rod of that thickness, such as a steel rod. Next, wrap the copper tube around this rod. Find a way to tightly clamp and fix the rod and one end of the copper tube. It doesn't necessarily have to be the exact same tool shown in my video, as long as it can hold it in place and allow you to apply force. Once it's secured, you can start applying force to bend the copper tube into coils. If the wall of your copper tube is relatively thin, and the inner diameter of the copper coil you require to be wound is very small, it is extremely prone to deformation or collapsing directly when bent. I highly recommend everyone go to Pinduoduo to buy a spring. As long as the inside diameter of the spring matches the outside diameter of your copper tube, it will be fine. Slip the spring over the outside of the copper tube before winding. No matter how you wind it, it won't collapse. After winding approximately the desired number of turns, bend the part at the connector lead wire outward. Bend it to form the angles. After it is bent into shape, you can back the anti-collapse spring out from the outside. Friends who do not want to watch the tedious adjustment process can skip directly. In order to make the spacing between each copper coil uniform and the appearance neat, I manually adjusted it by hand for several minutes. After it is shaped, I originally wanted to use a hand drill directly to ring the end of the copper tube. Suddenly I remembered that I hadn't put on the protective sleeve yet. So I started to wrap the high-temperature fiberglass sleeve. Everyone must pay attention, must wear a dust mask. This is full of extremely fine fiberglass inside, which easily becomes airborne. I was careless at the time and didn't wear one. It wasn't until I was halfway through wrapping that my throat and trachea started to feel dry, itchy, and uncomfortable in waves, before I finally realized it. By the time I noticed, I was almost finished wrapping. For the sake of your lungs, please be sure to wear a dust mask. Actually, there is a lazier and more convenient way to wrap this kind of high-temperature sleeve. Before bending the copper tube, just slide the sleeve directly onto the tube and wind the coils together with it on. It saves the trouble of painstakingly fitting it in later. Get the brass quick-release connectors ready. Use a hand drill to ring the end of the copper tube. Why go through the trouble of making a quick-release structure? Because by doing so, this ZVS induction heater I made can achieve one machine for multiple uses. To make it convenient to replace induction coils of different diameters and shapes at any time, disassembly and installation are both extremely hassle-free. Finally, let me demonstrate the water flow effect for everyone. Official power on and working. As you can all see, after putting it in, it was heated to a ghostly blue color. This setup can easily run at 500 watts to 0.5 kilowatts of actual power. Actually, paired with my heater, this coil setup can be pushed up to 3500 watts. However, it is limited by the power supply I have on hand, which was modified from an industrial server. Thank you all for watching. Hope this making approach can help fellow DIY enthusiasts.